Welcome, everybody. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their holidays. Exciting time of year with basketball, kind of getting started even more into ACC play. I'd like to welcome in my guest, Les Johns, covers Wake Forest for the Deacon Digest and the 24/7 Sports Network. What's going on, Les?
It's crazy times. There's still a little bit of a football basketball overlap. The Deacons, as we're taping this, the Deacons are getting ready to play in the Gator Bowl against 5-7 Rutgers, and the basketball team's playing pretty good right now. It's kind of a fun time to be covering Wake Forest athletics, and of course you've got the holidays and New Year's Eve and all that kind of stuff going on too. So fun.
Yeah, and hopefully have a good New Year's Eve. Yeah, a lot going on. I think everybody on the football side from Miami standpoint, just waiting for coaching. There was a big buzz with, getting some recruits. So a lot going on. But we're going to fit in college basketball here. I know you're a big fan. Let's get into it. Wake Forest, one of the surprises early on in the ACC. I had a chance to watch that Louisville game. I came away disappointed because I don't think that much of Louisville's team this year. I think they're still trying to find themselves. I know both teams had a layoff, but I guess just let's start with that game on Wednesday. They lose, so Wake Forest 11-2, 1-1 in the conference. But what was your takeaways from that game in particular? What went wrong, essentially?
I think you kind of nailed it in terms of both teams were coming off, nearly a 2-week layoff. And I wrote before that game that, Wake needed to be efficient offensively because they were facing a good defensive Louisville team. And Coach Forbes, Wake Forest second-year head coach Steve Forbes, says consistently that you want the games to look like your practice. And if you get the game to look more like your practice than the opponent's practice, you're going to win more often than not. And I thought with both teams coming off a 2-week layoff, Louisville being more defensive focused, a little bit more sloppy on the offensive side, that if that game became sloppy and ugly and, foul prone and in other words, if the game played out the way it did, it was likely going to be a Louisville win. And that's exactly what happened. And it's weird because as much that went wrong for Wake Forest on the road there at Louisville, they still probably could have won. They didn't play particularly well. They didn't shoot well. The referees were atrocious on both sides of the court. I'm not at all saying that Wake Forest lost because of the referees, because they were just terrible both ways. And then there was that clock mishap at the end, which cost Wake their final chance. Once again, they did not lose because of that, but that did take away their final chance, basically. And for fans who wasn't watching that, basically what happened was Louisville had the ball up to with about 50 seconds to go, took a shot and got an offensive rebound with 27.9 seconds to go. And at that point, the shot clock should recycle to 20. And it didn't. So all of a sudden, it gets down to 19, 18, 17 seconds, and Wake Forest realizes they have to foul when they shouldn't have had to foul. They should be able to play good defense and perhaps have a chance to get the ball back with 10 or 11 seconds to go and a chance to tie the game. And that was just kind of stripped away from them. So, but once again, that's not why they lost. Wake didn't play good.
Yeah, and both teams shot under 40% in that one. And like you said, going on the road, it just it felt like a different. I'm sure you agree. Like it just didn't feel like the Wake Forest that you kind of seen throughout the year, getting to their spots or their offensive weapons, kind of hitting at good percentages. Again, Alondes Williams. That's where we start with Wake Forest. It's very intriguing watching someone like this from afar. He was at OU, averaging about 6 points a game. It comes, and I understand opportunities are once they change, but just to see this guy averaging, so he's second in the ACC in scoring, 20 and a half a game, leads the ACC in assists, really fun player to watch. He had he can shoot from the outside, but he had that nice dunk early in the Louisville game. Just a fun player to watch, and they talked about his vision quite a bit in that one. What's your takeaways with Alondes, the type of player he is? You've seen good players over the years in the ACC. Kind of just what are you seeing from him? And it's hard to expect 20 a game from a guy, and I know the competition's not been great always, but your takeaways with Alondes, what makes him tough?
Well, I mean, you nailed a lot of it really, and it's the vision and the ability to get the ball and through tight windows to teammates who are ready for it, and the announcers kind of picked up on that his teammates know those type of passes are coming, so they're ready. He makes the diagonal pass excellent. He's able to draw the defense, to make the diagonal pass. he made an incredible pass on a game-winning shot against Charlotte earlier this month, in which, he had 34 points and, had the ball in the final seconds, drove to the basket. The defense, of course, collapsed around him because, he had 34 points and he kicked it out to Isaiah Mucius, who hit a corner three for the win. Just incredible vision, great passer, creative, and fun. He's just a lot of fun to watch. I would say this isn't your grandfather's Wake Forest team anymore. They're playing with a little bit of a swagger, I guess you would say. It's kind of a different vibe than definitely what we've seen over the last 10 or 11 seasons for sure. They're a confident group. They play with a little bit of chip on their shoulder, a little bit more of an edge than what we're used to seeing. And Coach Forbes is a lot of fun. So, they're a team that smiles, laughs, a little bit of an edge. They'll get in your face. They'll dunk, and Man, that's his nickname. Alondes it kind of fuels that.
So he's Alondes 6'5" guard, just kind of you touched on a little bit of his scoring output. He has 3 30-point games. In comparison, I've been very impressed with Kam McGusty on the Miami side, coming off a 20-11-5 game. He's not hit the 30-point mark as good as he's been. So just kind of in comparison, and he also is listed at 6'5". So I would assume those two will get matched up a little bit together in this one. Certainly the scoring will be there. It's interesting to kind of see how these teams are going to match up. And one of the things from looking from afar, it seems like Wake Forest has done a good job with their roles, with their starters. They know who they have, their rotation guys. That was one of the reasons why, I touched on with Louisville, it feels like they don't know what they have or what they are. So that's why it felt a little disappointing on that side. And then from Miami's standpoint, they're going to go with these two guards, McGusty and Isaiah Wong. They're going to go as far as it's going to be hard for Miami to win games if both of those two guys aren't on, which is what you saw against NC State. The other guys that Wake Forest have, Jake LaRavia, and David Williamson, they've been their next two scorers, but they've got some size too. What do you see kind of this secondary stuff, the secondary scores essentially after Alondes?
Well, Jay, you touch on Jake LaRavia, and he's a guy that can kind of do it in a variety of different ways. And I guess this is the overall theme is that Steve Forbes kind of hit the lottery in the transfer portal. They worked the transfer portal pretty hard. Got Alondes Williams from Oklahoma, got Hadim C from Ole Miss, got Dallas Walton from Colorado, and pulled Jake LaRavia from Indiana State, who I completely believe is a future pro. He's not the featured guy right now, but he is a future pro. He has a diverse skill set. He can guard basically from the 1 to the 4. Good feet, great hands, good vision as well. Solid shot, maybe even a little bit too unselfish right now. Coach Forbes says that he has to persuade him to shoot at times instead of share the ball with his teammates. He can do it in the post. He's got a lot of post moves and can do it on the perimeter and a good defender. He's really just kind of good in all aspects of the game. And what's interesting is that you've got Alondes from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that's kind of been Oklahoma, JUCO, blah, blah, blah. And then you got, Jake LaRavia, just an Indiana boy, went to Indiana State, and then they both transferred into Wake Forest. And those two have clicked like beyond belief. They find each other better than any duo I've seen since I've started covering collegiate basketball. They just got a tremendous connection. They really love and care for each other. And you can see that connection on the court come to fruition when they're playing well.
Let's stay with that then, playing well. We touched on the things that didn't go well against Louisville, but when it's clicking, the team that Wake Forest wants to be, to allow to get those 11 wins, essentially, what needs to go well for Wake Forest to win games, particularly against Miami in this one?
What needs to go well? When it's clicking, it's the offense. They move the ball, they share the ball, they make the extra pass, they penetrate, make the defense react, and then reverse the ball based upon those that help side defense. They're not. I think under Danny Manning, a lot of times it was one guy kind of dribbles for 20 seconds and then they created, themselves. And this team is like kind of the 5-out motion offense. Everybody can kind of dribble, everybody can drive, everybody can pass, everybody can shoot. You'll see Dallas Walton and Hadim C, take 3-pointers as well. All 5 guys on the floor are capable behind the arc. So you've got to respect that. And it's just a really fun offense to watch and a fun team to watch. So, it's once again, I'm really looking forward to Saturday evenings. You call it afternoon, evening. I'm really looking forward to Saturday's game. It should be a good test. Miami's kind of surprised me in terms of it's not a team I expected to be rolling through a 6-game winning streak, but here they are, and it should be a sneaky good game in the ACC.
Yeah, and it's early to have one of these games. So Miami's 10-3, 2-0 in the conference. Like you said, six wins in a row. I think for X factor with Miami, I touched on the 2 guards, obviously, and I think both those guys can hold up with their production. Now, they might have off games, but they're 2 of the better guards in the ACC. Now, the help around them is where they're going to struggle. But last game against NC State, Jordan Miller goes off for 25. You're not expecting that, but Miami I think they need him to be that third scorer, kind of that versatile guy. They're play him at the 4. So he's got to be able to stretch out and hit threes ideally, and he did that last game. So I think he's kind of the key, not just necessarily for this one, but just moving forward for Miami's success. But it is interesting because Wake Forest, like I said, they've created a lot of buzz here, but they're coming off the loss. I feel like, I know it's early, but dropping to 1-2 in the conference seems like it would be disappointing. So they can get back on, where they're going there. And then Miami has an opportunity at home before this kind of big stretch comes up with Duke and Florida State, UNC kind of stretch coming up. So they're trying to get a win. I think certainly a credible one in this one. We'll see how it goes. Les, I appreciate you jumping on. I know you got some busy there, but I appreciate you jumping on. It's always fun talking to you, but particularly about college basketball. So appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it, Christopher. You have a great day. Have a happy New Year, and I'm hoping the Canes have a nice season, except for Saturday.
All right, Les. We'll see you.
Take care. Bye-bye.